Does anyone else do this? It's like their books become a storage system for things. We don't need that. This is my first book review in 3 years. Hi everyone, Miranda here. I hope you're all been going well. Today I am going to be reviewing 2 books by the wonderful Gayle Forman, and they are Just One Day and Just 1 Year. Hey. Do they sit? Oh, they look good there. I'm so excited. These 2 books are just wonderful books to dive into. Since we can't travel anywhere, a bit of a book to do with just romance and traveling and Paris. These 2 books are companion novels to each other. They are not a sequel. When I originally bought the second book, I thought, oh my god, this is the sequel, because if you all read Just One Day, it ends on a massive cliffhanger. So I thought, oh my god, we're finally gonna see what happens next after that cliffhanger. No. Second book, Just 1 Year, is a companion novel told from the character William, because he's Dutch, it's pronounced differently, point of view. This book is very sentimental. It's all about love, being in the right place at the right time, journey of finding yourself and experiencing life in the most unexpected of ways. Alison has just graduated from high school. To celebrate, her parents book her on a teen tour to Europe. Alison is a character who is quite an introvert. She doesn't really let go and enjoy things. She has a very mechanical life. On the last day of the trip, she meets this guy called William. They spend a day in Paris together. By a day, I mean like 24 hours. They've just met. It's what happens in that day that changes Alison's life literally forever. They're probably thinking, oh my god, goes to Paris with this guy that she literally does not know. Yes, that's the story. Do not worry. She doesn't get kidnapped and nothing bad does happen. I do rate it a 4 out of 5. You can read it in a day and it flows really nicely. I also recommend this book if you do love or are a Shakespearean, because there are a lot of Shakespeare references in here. I'm not. I don't really vibe that world. If you want to be spoiled, keep watching, because we're going to discuss these 2 books. Beautiful story. The way Gayle writes about her characters and what goes on in their minds, and obviously the way they speak to each other, it's very good. I honestly felt as if the connection between Alison and William, I'm going to call him just William because it's much easier, just by knowing each other for 1 day, developed super nicely. It felt as if they knew each other for so much longer, and usually in the other books that I read, you know, the characters may know each other for a year or 6 months and it feels like they hardly know each other. I really enjoyed Alison and her journey of self-discovery, believing in herself, and finally getting away from her mum's controlling behaviour. Oh my god, her mother. It was a must, because obviously the way the story was told, what happened to Alison, we needed a character like her mother in this book, but oh my god, if I had a mother like that, I'd be rebellious. She latched on in the first half of this book on way too much of what Alison was doing, was in her private world way too much. And I felt like her mum was just a Karen. Like, you know that Karen meme that goes around the internet? Her mother's obviously very loving and very adoring, and when it does come out that, you know, her mother's dream was just to have that medical degree, you know, to do something down that line, and she was trying to push it onto Alison because Alison wanted to do other things. So the self-discovery that everyone found in this book was really, really good. But for the first half of that book, I could not stand Alison's mum. What I really like also about this book is the development of Melanie and Alison's relationship, because at the beginning of the book they're these best friends, you know, they're inseparable, they do everything together, and as life takes you in different places and you discover different things about yourself, sometimes, you know, you don't want to drop a friend completely, but you find out that you have less in common, and unless, you know, you meet again, you're in a different frame of mind. Sometimes you just don't get along with people, and I found that so relatable. Now, I am a bit of a travel bum myself, so when I found out obviously that this book was taking place in Paris and Europe and overseas, I started thinking about my memories overseas. One of the things you definitely do when you travel is you put your trust in people, and you put your trust in people you know nothing about, and it gets scary, especially if you're traveling by yourself and you're in a country and they don't speak English. That has happened to me before. Being the type of person that she was, put all her trust in William. Like, mate, if that was me, I'd think, oh my god, you are a scam artist, you're gonna kidnap, you're gonna put my body on the market. That's what I would think going into it. I loved the fact that Allison let go. Not everyone is out there to hurt you, and you can trust. That day in Paris was so random. All the things that happened to them. I really liked how they got attacked by the skinhead gang, and she just, you know, threw the book and stuff like that. It's funny. I like how they rode that bike and they got told off by the cops. All the little patisseries that they went to on the boat, and how that's when they really started to learn more about each other. They never once really pulled out a camera. It was all an experience of feeling what was really going on in their head. Allison, in the second half of this book, man, she was feisty, she was determined, and she needed her answers. And I hate it when people tend to go nowadays, oh, you know, you're so addicted to the past, let go of the past. I really felt Allison, because she didn't want to let go of the past, because sometimes when you think about the past, it actually helps you decide what you're going to do for the future. This event that happened in the past held this giant, like, fate thing around her, and she really felt connected to it. She had to solve it because it made her become the person that she was by the end of the story. A few things that annoyed me though was a bit of William's character. I really liked the guy, and he got better, especially in book 2 when we started to know like his personality a bit more and everything, and why he did what he did, because he was a very mysterious character. But man, I started to get annoyed. There were various bits. Mate, do you really, are you playing her, or do you actually have these genuine feelings for her? I felt like he knew everyone in town. Like, how does William know so many people? He's only 21. How does he get all this money to travel all over the place? How about him being so good looking? Like, everyone goes on about William being so good looking, and it's so funny because every time I read a book, I get a mental picture of the character in my head, and I just couldn't picture William. He was fuzzy. When William starts realizing, you know, who's going to look after you, who's going to care for you, especially in the second book when he, you know, is on a mission to hunt down Allison, he starts realizing these feelings, because obviously William has a lot of family issues. A lot. Allison, throughout the second half of this book, loved when she got the job. She learned French, she went to those Shakespeare classes, and Dee was such a random character. This book was written in 2013, so it's interesting to see the representations of gays, because it wasn't as big of a deal as it is now in YA books. A few annoying things were, why did she delete the picture? I never delete pictures. I hate deleting pictures unless I look horrible. That was her evidence as to who he was and their one day together, and it was such a beautiful picture, and she ended up deleting it at midnight, which I freaking hate. They obviously slept together under the tarp in a squat house in an art studio with clay and poof. So I don't know what's so romantic about where they slept. I didn't really like it. I thought, get a hotel room. He just disappeared. Like, he just disappeared, he just vanished. And he took all these things. If he intended to come back, which is obviously what he did, why take all your things? Or write her a note and put it, like, literally where she will see it. Don't, like, store it somewhere else. I feel like one of the other themes that are in these two books is not needing a suitcase. You know, you don't need a suitcase to store all your memories, and you don't need that on your back. You can be free and you can have experiences in here. Postcards, like, he literally wrote the address and then she shipped it back to America. Like, you would check those things when the ending, how she opens the door and it's like, I'm Allison, Allison's here, Lulu's gone. It's funny how everyone that she met along the way left a different mark in her life. Well, first time I actually picked this up, I thought this was the sequel. So when we got to that door part at the very end, I'm like, oh my god, we're gonna find out more. I got this and I realized it was in William's point of view, and then I kept turning the pages of the book and I got to the very end and I'm like, oh my god, surely they're gonna have like that conversation or something, we're gonna find out what happened. No, it's like she opens the door, they kiss, and then, you know, everything gets revealed, and it's just like, I need a third book. I need to know, because now that he's an actor, which congratulations on William, he found out what he really wanted to do in life. It's so exciting for this character in this book. I felt really happy for him, but I want to know what happens in Brooklyn. Like, I want to know that conversation that they had with each other after all this time. I want to know what happens next, and I feel like I need a third book. I need a third book. We finally know more about William, and one of the things when I was reading just one day is, you know, that end scene when he's just done that performance and he's like, yeah, and then she's in the crowd, and then at the very end this woman runs up and hugs him, which is obviously Kate. She thinks, oh my god, that's like a girlfriend, and then at the very end when she walks through the door and they kiss and whatever, you know what I mean, you think, oh my god, that's the girlfriend, and at the very end you realise, no, it's just Kate, like he doesn't have a girlfriend. I really, first off, with William's character development, like to see that his playboyness as he was growing older, as this one day changed his whole life, left. And obviously we had little bits with Anna Lucia, which I thought was a really weird relationship they had going on there. Like, girl, oh, I do not know how she didn't get the hint that he's like, was not interested in her. He didn't really give the hint very well. Like when he was coming to break it off, he came in with like a glass of champagne or whatever, and she's just like, oh my god, you booked the trip for us. And I'm like, oh my god. He slept with what, 2 girls in this book. I'm glad he wasn't down to his usual playboy status. What happened with his family? Obviously he has a very dysfunctional family. His mum's off living in India. You know, he really feels like he has no one. And that's what the whole concept was of who will look after me, who will take care of me, came into it. And I really loved when he started to realise, no, you know, I really love Alison. Be with someone like her and she will look after me. She cares about me to that extent. And that's something he's never felt before. And usually when Will feels love or any of those emotions, he runs from them, which is kind of what he did at the end of the beginning of Just One Day. One thing I did not enjoy in this book, and I kind of got a bit annoyed, were the bits when he was in India. And I know they were necessary for the relationship with his mother that was fractured and how it all came together because he started to accept love in many different terms. There were a lot of filler chunks. I thought all the names that were used in this book had to be simplified. There were so many names flying around the whole time I was reading this book that at one point I was just like, who is who? And like names, like I've got them in my list, like Patlik, Sabah, Mukesh, Yali, and then we got Kate, Cassandra, Rachel, Tash, Natasha, Max. Like I was just like, fuck. I'm just gonna go with Bro G. It was interesting to read Just One Day and then Just One Year and then kind of put the timelines together. He was in Cancun, in Mexico there, and they were at the same party on New Year's Eve. I reread the part of when she was there and how they must have met. There was the line in Just One Day that Melanie said about taking a bite of the sandwich. And then lo and behold, that must have come out of Bro G's mouth. Alison was looking out at the water on New Year's because they literally heard the same singer and he was in the water. Didn't they see each other? Like, I know the beach was filled with so many people, but hell, even the same hotel. We know they wouldn't have met till the end of the book, but it was kind of frustrating. And especially the part where it goes off with, you know, the Anna fling. And he gets that phone call, literally, oh, like, the woman's like, oh, we can pass you forward to, like, the woman there, and it was literally Miss Folly. Like, he could have had the conversation with Miss Folly about the missing watch. I like how they both got to have the lead role in something and find out what they wanted to do as a career. There are a lot of experiences you have to take and a lot of freedom you have to have and places you have to visit and things that you've got to do for yourself. And I feel like a lot of 21-year-olds definitely feel trapped in doing something that they don't want to do. I'm lucky I had the freedom to be able to experience what I love to do, but I know for a lot of them, they would be feeling like Alison's or William's. William, though, is like, man, he has money. He has money to just throw around and travel all the time. I was like border patrol or whatever in every country he visited. I'd be really sus at like his passport because of just how much he freaking travels. I rated this book probably a 3 out of 5. I did enjoy Just One Day a little bit better. I feel like we need a 5 years later. Here you can follow William's journey like around the world. I want to know more about both of them. Their journeys had to go separate ways before coming back together in a full circle. There's a lot of things to do with fate, but I'm a massive believer in fate and destiny and things happening for a reason. So this was their reason. It was gorgeous. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'd really love to hear them. And yeah, more book reviews coming soon. I really hope this becomes a Netflix series or a movie. See you.